Hi, I'm Dr. Jay Culkin at WIFH, and today we're going to talk about sweating. Yes, sweating. Atlanta, Georgia, sweat capital of the world, or maybe I should say Georgia in the South. But we want to talk about how we control sweating and what a big problem this has been for our patients. We started finding ways to control sweating. A few years ago, we were injecting Botox in underarms to control sweating. And then about 3 years ago, we came out with a procedure called miraDry. And miraDry, we've now done in our office over 300 procedures. And I want to talk about this procedure a little bit and how we control this problem. First of all, we see patients from all walks of life that come to us for miraDry. Interestingly, more than half are men. They are people who just sweat profusely. We are not necessarily talking about this disease, for all intents and purposes, called hyperhidrosis. We are talking about sweating that affects what you can wear, the way you look. We have people who give presentations and they sit like this in front of a group. We've had students in college who are embarrassed by the sweat rings that they get when they're in social situations. We've had executives who give presentations who have to change their shirt before and right after a presentation. So they come to us for miraDry, and the procedure goes something like this. You come into the office and I numb the entire armpit area. And what's interesting about that is we do this differently than most places. I use the same technique that I have done 9,000 times in our smart lipo procedure. So we numb the entire armpit on both sides, and I do it through a little tiny puncture right next to the armpit. And then we use the miraDry device, which is a microwave energy device that basically destroys a lot of the sweat glands. Now, not only the sweat glands, but the odor-producing glands. While we're doing the procedure of delivering the energy, my patients are feeling nothing. They are totally numb. And I invite you to look at places like realself.com and look at reviews of this procedure that have been written of the work we've done in our office. Patients are lying on the table, chit-chatting for about an hour and a half while we do this procedure. They get up off the table, they walk out of my office, they drive themselves home. Now, they use ice packs that evening. They will use ibuprofen for pain. Every now and then I'll get someone that will ask me for a Tylenol with codeine, and they're back to work the next day. So they've not had any downtime. Now, what's interesting about the results from miraDry is they're quite impressive. So the next few days after the procedure, they're having no sweat. What I'm looking for is how far out, let's go out 3-4 months and see what % less sweating are my patients doing. And I will tell you the results from one procedure range from 50% all the way up to 95% reduction. We have done 15% of our patients have asked for a second procedure. Some of the people that have chosen to have a second procedure, they were 95% reduced after one. Others have been in the 50-60% after one. But the satisfaction with this procedure in our office, 99%. Really impressive. Now, well, what makes us different? How are we doing it differently? Number one, we're getting total numbing, no question. Number two, because my patients are totally numb, I'm able to use the highest power on the miraDry device. So we are seeing people come to us from other places that have had 1 and 2 procedures done. They had it done with the old numbing technique, therefore they couldn't deliver a lot of energy because it was still painful. And they're coming here, we're doing it, and they're doing beautifully. So no longer is it necessary to, when I was at Music Midtown a few weeks ago, and you know, we notice things like this, but we're sitting at dinner one evening at Music Midtown, and you can notice people from the heat with rings all around their clothes. And, you know, we do miraDry, so we notice these kinds of things. But these are the things that are totally preventable. Prescription deodorants, not so good. Botox, expensive, and has to be repeated every 3 or 4 months. So we have been more than thrilled with the miraDry procedure, and so have our patients.
So when will you start to notice results?
Yeah, so, you know, we have questions that have come in before from a few folks. Our patients notice results immediately. Now, is the immediate result the final result? No, it's not. And why? Because sometimes the glands are stunned. It's like that energy just hit them, it stunned them, and they shut down. And some of them may come back to work over the next few months. That's why I like to go 3 or 4 months out, let my patients figure out, okay, how pleased am I with the reduction that I've gotten, and do I need to do a second procedure? And that's a very personal, individual decision. Do we get, were there other questions that come in?
I have a couple people saying hello, but and is it's permanent?
Yeah, you know, we're destroying the sweat glands. And again, to figure out what percent of the glands are permanently destroyed, that's why I like to have everybody go out 3 or 4 months, let the dust settle, let these sweat glands wake up that have been stunned, and then we know where we really are. But yeah, we've started 3 years ago. No one's been back after 3 years saying my sweat is back.
And is anyone a candidate, or do you have to be diagnosed with hyperhidrosis?
Yeah, so anyone who sweats excessively is a candidate. This is a cosmetic procedure. Now, in the armpit, I'm looking for fleshy moles or skin tags. Any mole that looks suspicious, I'll always have evaluated by a dermatologist before I would do miraDry over it, or we would remove it. But I would want derm to consult there. Skin tags, little skin tags that we see all the time, we're able to remove those at the time of the procedure.
We have another question. Would you discontinue using an antiperspirant or a deodorant after having miraDry?
So, I have many people that don't use a deodorant. I have some people that put one on anyway, but the overwhelming number of patients say, you know, sometimes if I'm going into a warm situation, somebody was out just the other day, or they were in the summertime, they were in New Orleans, and said that they put on some deodorant that day, but otherwise they had not been. I have other people that put it on once in a while. Very individual decision, but regardless of what those patients are doing, it is a fraction of the issue that they had before.
Perfect.
Any other questions come in?
How much is it?
So then the question on price, we are different than many places in that we do put our price on the website. It's right around $19.95, I believe. And if they need a second procedure, the second procedure costs substantially less to do it the second time. But like I said, that's been only about 15% of the patients. In our office, our miraDry coordinator, Melissa, has actually had this procedure done. If any of you have questions about it on a more personal level, then you might give Melissa a call and she'll be glad to help you with it. I read on realself.com about people that have had this done 2 or 3 times in other places, and we just think that's terrible, because they're still having pain when they're doing it, so they're not getting the anesthesia and they can't get the delivery of the high energy that we get. So I really encourage the consumer to do the research and do the homework and understand the significant difference that this anesthesia technique makes.
And a follow-up question to the pricing, are there finance options available?
I believe, yeah, our patients use Care Credit to do this procedure in the office all the time.
And do everyone need to come in for a consultation before they can schedule the procedure, or how does that work?
Does everyone need a consult? I prefer every patient that's having a procedure to have a consult. And I don't care whether it's hair removal, Botox, miraDry, lipo. Yeah, now we oftentimes do a consult the same day. So our patients will come in, we'll do a 15-minute consult, make sure we set the expectations, review the medical history, we'll do the procedure, and then they'll go home. So, we're also busy. We try and make that pretty seamless for you. So I think we're in good shape. I think that's miraDry. We'll be doing these Ask the Doctor sessions on many topics at WIFH. Of course, we will archive them. You can view them. We'll do smart lipo, hair removal, Botox, fillers, and the list goes on and on. But thanks for spending time with me this morning, and have a great day. It's getting nice outside. Bye-bye.